Let's what's in it? Oh. Believe it or not, that's what I'll do.
Oh my god.
I need to put that in the video now. That's brilliant.
You do now.
Hey there guys, welcome back to the Brickcast. Today we've got Aaron from Brick Fun 101 and we're just going to ramble on. We've got a couple of subjects to talk about. We're not really sure where this is going. It's just two dudes talking about Lego and crap, basically. This is where we're heading with this. I do warn the viewers, this episode could be 18 plus, so there may be swearing, some silly references and stuff in there. Just if you're offended, see you later, goodbye. If you're not, carry on watching. So to start off with, we've decided to talk about Aaron's best friend in Lego themes, which is the creator 3-in-1, as he announced his love for it in the last Brickcast episode. And I've been taking a little look myself, and to be honest, I forgot how good the actual sets were. There's some amazing sets out there, and especially these new 2021 sets. Aaron, you seem to have hoarded literally everything from Lego.com.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I think I have a problem. I've got these two boxes here I'm going to be working on later. If you want me to pull them out later in the stream, we can.
Sure, guys. Sure.
Oh,
can you yeah, go on. We've got all Lego 3-in-1.
This is every single Lego 3-in-1 that's come out since 2020 to 2021 from the site. Anything that's not sold out. I think there's only 3 sets that were sold out, a small poly bag, some of the other ones. But these are every single set that's come out so far. And in the US, we cannot get the newest 3-in-1s till June 1st. There's the new 5 sets. And so those 5 I'll be ordering later, but this is everything else.
So in that box then, what do you think is probably the best 3-in-1 set that you've bought, and what's the worst?
Well, out of all this year, I think
out of all the ones we bought.
Out of ones we bought, okay, in here,
yeah.
The best 3-in-1 set I would assume would be the Townhouse Pet Shop and Cafe. As far as versatility and pieces in there, that set is probably the best bang for your buck if you're looking at doing any sort of Lego City or more adult Lego sort of building stuff. But as far as the crappiest one in there is most likely the yellow taxi. I thought it was a nice little build, but overall, as far as the theme is concerned, it fits the theme the least. It can only be built in one thing, and it's mostly yellow pieces you get. So turning it into something else, I mean, you could build a brickhead of a minion, I guess. I don't know.
Or a giant lemon, maybe.
Yeah, or a banana. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. And I think it's weird because there's some of them that really pop and really stand out, and I'm like, yeah, at some point in time I will have to get those. But then there's some that, I mean, like the Tuk Tuk. I didn't like the Tuk Tuk. Not that I personally built it, but I just didn't like the way it looked. Like I've got it on the screen now, and I'm like wincing at the sight of it. It's it's a bit ugly. Like, come on, you must admit.
Oh man, I kind of like it. This is one of the few ones I've left built.
Oh, put it in the bin. Put it in the bin.
No, I'm not going to put this in the bin. I actually like it. The reason why I like it is because the colors are kind of wonky and they're wacky and it just doesn't match. But partly because of that is you see some pictures of this in other countries and they are like this. They're decorated with kind of these weird colors and the way they've got the little lights on the top. And I don't know. I just thought it was a really cool little thing.
Yeah, I suppose it's not bad for the price. Like I can see on Lego.com, it's like $8.99 here, UK pounds. So I suppose it isn't bad in terms of price, but it just looks hideous. It's like it's got every color in the Lego spectrum. Like I don't think there isn't a color on there. It's got the yellow, the green. There's like that blue. Then there's like a pink, a darker green, black. Jesus, I'm gonna have a fit in a second. There's that much color straight out.
Yeah.
But I think that is, if you like it, that's up to you. I mean, everybody's entitled to
Well,
I won't judge you, I promise.
That's the reason, though, I think most people don't like 3-in-1 is because of the colors. And the reality of most of these sets, I mean, there's only so many things you can do from a marketing standpoint from Lego to create the best possible set with these pieces, but then those same pieces can then be turned into 2 other things, right? They're trying to sell versatility, but you also have that curve appeal of you want the set to actually look good with the color scheme, and it's really hard, and that's the reason why people don't like it. You have this Tuk Tuk is a good example. It's only one build, just kind of like the taxi, and the colors are all over the place. I like the fact that the colors are all over the place because it's not realistic, because it kind of plays into that. Do you want your Lego to be ultra realistic crowd, or do you want your Lego to be really whimsical and not make sense because it's technically a toy, right?
Yeah.
And it goes into that thing, and it's really, no one can answer that for you, and everybody's answer is going to be different. That's kind of why I like it too, because if you're just looking for parts and ways to just get into creating mocks and stuff, it's great for that.
Yeah, there is. I must admit, I do like the versatility with the 3-in-1. I mean, the creator is like, I've had a couple of the creator 3-in-1 buildings and stuff, and they're always, God, I love city building, so I'm always going to go to those. But the shark one that we built during the mock contest, I was like surprised. I didn't realize that it kind of made me think outside the box in terms of building. Like if you're somewhat narrowed down to one sole building technique. So for instance, I build buildings, and then I'm sat here with a set and I'm like, I definitely can't build a building with this set. What I'm going to do. So then that's making me think a different way. And I'm thinking, right, I can build a ship out of it. I can build a spaceship. I can build some sort of hover bike, or those were all the ideas that were coming into my head. And I think in that way, in terms of this imaginative, like play and creative side of it, I think this is probably top dollar. Like this is probably the best bang for your buck.
Yeah, no, that's the other thing I was going to mention, is that since it's not a licensed theme where they have to pay royalties to Marvel or Disney or whatever, Star Wars, these sets are cheaper price per piece average than most other Lego sets by a large degree. A good example would be the pirate ship. I know the Pirates of Barracuda Bay was a very good idea set. I've even had it, put it on display for a while. But I feel personally this pirate ship, for the money and the parts you get, it's a better build overall, just because of the accessibility of the pieces. Whereas when you really break down what you get with Pirates of Barracuda Bay, it's a really good adult fan of Lego, put it on the shelf set. But if you ever want to take that thing apart, in which I have taken it apart and I've pieced it out, there's a lot of pieces that aren't that great for other mocks. And it sounds horrible to say they're better or worse Lego pieces, but there are. It doesn't have a lot of the cool stuff you want. It doesn't have a lot of the cool function. And when you do get bricks, most of them are white, dark brown, or light brown. That's the majority of the set. And when it's you get a lot of that, but you also get a lot of reds, grays, whites, blacks, even some green and yellow mixed in for good measure. So you do get more. If you're asking me today, what should I go to the Lego store and buy? Because I want to do two things. I want to get I want to amass a bunch of Lego to make mocks with, and I want to have the most fun spending the least amount of money as possible, like Lego on a budget. You go 3-in-1. That's the best place.
See, because I've only seen the videos that you've done, and I've seen like maybe a couple of pictures online. But in terms of like the better build, I think I agree with you. The Creator 3-in-1 gives you a better build, in my opinion, a more realistic looking ship, and it's cool that you can build the mast out of actual bricks rather than just giving you a bit of cloth.
Yeah.
And the Barracuda Bay, it is an awesome set. It looks cool, but I think it's a little bit messy. I think it's a little bit all over the place. And the only clean sort of build, in my opinion, is the actual ship itself. It's not like, like if we're looking at like a comparison picture, like I've got up here of the actual original set that it's based off. I would rather just have the ship rather than the mess of a island, clubhouse type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got way better parts in that 3-in-1 set than you have the other. Yeah. Instantly, that's a win, to be honest. So what was your favorite part about building that? Did you do all of the 3-in-1s? I can't remember. I've
only done maybe on a stop motion speed build. I've only done maybe 3 or 4, and I've used a couple, like maybe 2 or 3 more of them for the mock challenges that we do on our channel every now and then. We haven't done a lot of them, but the ones I have used have all been spectacular, including the more cheap builds like the propeller plane or the Cyberdrome, which, by the way, the Cyberdrome is sitting back on that shelf right now. That's one of the new ones. For $10, it's a steal because it also comes with a minifigure. So minifigure plus you get 133 pieces that can be used to make either one small mech, one small hovercraft, and then a jet. So it's like you get the pieces that already have all the cool configurations, and there's a lot of stock pieces, there's a lot of function pieces. You get all the good stuff, and it comes with a nice color scheme where it's mostly the gray, the dark blue, and the orange, which actually look good together.
Yeah.
So it's like, and the minifigure, it's ridiculous. It's like it's $10. When you look at any other Lego theme for $10, you're not going to get anywhere near as that quality.
See, I was out today, partly filming bits for a vlog, and I just had a little look like at the sets, and I was looking in terms of price wise, and like you said, if the Lego Creator line isn't based off anything, so they don't have to pay any royalties or out like that. I looked at there was like a +4 set, and it was like the Sandman, Spider-Man, and like some sort of mobile thing. And I was looking around and I was thinking, well, Lego City is relatively cheap in comparison to this set. And it was, say, for instance, the blue car. Let's have a look at the blue car. This set here.
Yeah.
So that blue car set is, I think does it retail for like $8? Like somewhere around that price?
Here it's $10.99, or I think it's $14.99. I can't remember. Let me look it up.
Yeah. I think here it's between like 10 and I want to say 10 and 12, but I can't really remember. But in terms of a package that size, and for the Marvel set, even though it was on sale, it was still £15 here in the UK.
Yeah.
I think it's for 2 minifigures and a tiny. Basically, it was just a quad bike. It was a quad bike, and what was the other? Yeah, quad bike, Spider-Man, and Sandman, and that was it. And I'm thinking £15 for something like that, and even when it's on sale, it's still relatively high. But yeah, with these Creator 3-in-1 sets, you're getting, like you said, all these amazing pieces, cool color schemes as well. I've noticed that they're not just basically limited to one theme. Like a lot of the modulars, say for instance the corner garage, you've got basically that tan, and then it's grey, white, and green.
Yeah.
The same with the haunted house. As much as I love it, it literally is. It's probably done on purpose though, because it's supposed to be spooky and duller colours. But it's mainly that dark green or olive green, brown, grey, and black. Whereas these 3-in-1s that you're getting, especially that pirate ship that you're on about, you got those blacks, browns, reds, greens. There's all sorts of cool things. Plus, you can make it into 3 different things.
And in most cases, more. There's a guy. I forget. I know I've mentioned his name before, and I should have brought it up again. I think it's Lennox, and maybe I'll give you a link later if we post this. But he has on Rebrickable the Fire Dragon set that me and Fab Blondies just did in a video on. He's made 48 different creature builds out of that one set, and they all look good. There's not like 2 good ones and the rest are bad. It's all of them are actually plausible builds and they look good, even with the color scheme of being red. Done that with a lot of the 3-in-1 sets. It's kind of that's what he does for a living, I think, is he charges $2 for the PDF instructions online, and he makes it to these different builds for people to play with. But anyway, you can do more than 3-in-1. 3-in-1 is just the limit that Lego puts on it. But in most cases, other people, you can download instructions for many, many, many other builds for these things.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like just taking a look through here, like I'm still on that 3-in-1 pirate ship, and that Skull Island from the same set looks epic. Like so basically, if you say for instance you wanted a pirate ship layout, all you would have to do is buy 3 of these sets and then just build the 3 different builds, and you would have a decent display. Whereas in terms of people that build cities, it's like 160, 140, 210. Like it's an expensive way of doing it. But I wonder how much was that pirate 3-in-1?
99. So if it's for 300, you would have had all your pirate stuff from 300.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think we've definitely outlined the best theme of all. And now that you see it,
I think it's the best theme for me personally. But I know a lot of people have problems with it because of the color scheme, because of the parts you do get, and the fact that it's not made as a typical display theme. So I understand why people don't like it. There's a lot of adults who will not like this theme. And then they're trying to fix that with the newest one. Like, did you see about the new medieval castle coming out in June?
Yes, I've seen pictures of it. I haven't heard. I've got a picture of it now, actually. But I haven't heard what's this news that you're on about.
No, they're trying to fix it, because when you look at the set, the actual main build of the castle looks very much like a complete set that you would have had similar in the older castle releases. So they're trying to get more into catering to the, I guess, older audience for 3-in-1.
Nostalgic fans, basically. Yeah.
Well, I know a lot of castle fans, they wanted this one. That's the way I found out about it as a leak. There was a guy who leaked it, and all he does on his Instagram is castle Lego. And he was wigging out about this, so.
Yeah. But I think that's the thing. I think the last, like, 2 or 3 years, maybe, Lego have tried to push hard and hard for this, like, more adult audience. Because, I mean, when I was younger, people were like, I'm not spending 300 quid on Lego, like, as a present for you. Like, why? It's just plastic bricks. Yeah. And they can never justify it. So then they're on about pushing this more to adults and making, you know, larger sets for them to buy and for them to actually have the money to then buy for themselves. And, like, they need to... I think they've done a great job, but I think there's still a whole load of, like, nostalgic stuff that they need to bring out. Like, do you remember castles from when we were a kid? That was, like, the bomb. That was, like, the soul of Lego, basically. Then they had... Do you remember the old... the pre-Ninjago ninja theme? They had, like, white and black ninjas. Like, I know they've brought out Ninjago, but it'd be cool for them to do a throwback set for that. Then there's the Johnny Thunder sets. They are... Oh, my God. I used to hoard them sets when I was younger. And they're all non-licensed themes. They're all Lego's own babies, you know what I mean? Like, they could easily just bring those back out. So it is nice to see them trying to attempt to do something, especially with a castle theme. But it's... What do you think of that castle? Do you think it's...
I think it's really good. I think the pieces you get are a pretty nice mix. A good example is, because it's 3-in-1 and not a castle theme, if you just look at the colors just right off the bat, you're going to know, hey, it's a castle. I think I'm going to get a lot of grays, and I'm going to get a lot of whites and blacks, right? Well, right off the bat, it's colorful. You see blue and yellow right off the bat of the castle, which is unusual to see in a lot of other, you know, like the Disney castle, even though you think that would be very magical, a lot of it's gray, you know? And the good example, the Daily Bugle, one of my favorite sets that I'm not going to buy this year. It's a great set, but I have no use. I do not want any more gray pieces. I have too many gray. I have too many windows. Why would I buy a set that is basically windows and gray?
And gray pieces, yeah. If it's not for soul, because I think we've outside of, like, the Brickcast, I think just us two chatting personally, I think we've identified that if you're buying something, you would like it to multi-function, to have, if you wanted to tear it down, you want to use all those pieces. Yeah. So I think the Daily Bugle is only good in essence in terms of if you're only displaying it.
Yeah.
And I fully agree, but I still think it's awesome.
No, I'm not saying it's not awesome. I just think it's
no,
yeah, kind of a ripoff, though, that Lego's making you buy that set just to get the special minifigures. Because it's like, oh, you've never seen this Spider-Man minifigure? We're going to gate it behind a really high purchase for you.
Yeah. Exactly. And there must have been tons of guys that were like, and gals maybe, that were probably like, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to buy that set just for the minifigures, and I'm just going to sell the building.
Yeah, that could be popular. Yeah.
Screw it, I'm just going to make my money back. But I wonder how much individually those minifigures are probably worth.
It depends. I think
imagine if you got a misprint.
Oh yeah.
If you had a misprint, oh my God! Like if you had Spider-Man with like a misprint of Venom's face on it or something, they'd be like, oh my God! Like I'd sell it for thousands of dollars or whatever. The kids going off the chain, like nagging their parents for it on eBay. It'd be nuts.
Well, it's hard to have a misprint on Marvel, because as you know, Marvel fans are still very bitter about this with Lego. Is that most of the time there are no leg printings on their minifigures? Yeah,
it's just a plain. Yeah, because I think they copped out, to be honest. I think they just the guy at the factory was like stamping away, and he's just like, oh dude, like I can't be bothered. Screw it. Screw it. All the Marvel ones I'm not doing. Screw it. It's just I think that that's another theme that I think that Lego needs to sort out. That because I think if they carry on with this 18 plus theme, they might be able to do some really cool Marvel sets, because obviously Marvel has a lot of violence and stuff like that in it, and they're not going to gear it towards like kids. But which was really weird because they featured a gun in the actual set, I think. Did you see that?
Yeah.
They had the Punisher with a gun, and I was like, damn, like when was the last time that we saw a gun in a set apart from a Star Wars set? And guys, we all know how I feel about Star Wars sets. Look at this dude. He's dead. He's absolutely dead. Squished. But yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? It's just hopefully Lego gets their finger out and sorts something out, I suppose.
Yeah.
But while we're on that subject, actually, is there anything that you feel like Lego is lacking on?
Well, this is the big thing that I think has always been a problem ever since I've gotten back into Lego. And this is just because I probably wasn't conditioned over the years, because I had stopped doing Lego for quite a long time in life and then got back into it last year. Partly because of the pandemic, but partly because I just missed it so much and went to the store and it evoked those emotions, seeing the boxes of, get into this. It was a lot of fun, and it reminded me of my childhood. Anyway, one thing I do not agree with, though, is the price setup. I feel like looking at what plastics injection molding as a industry is, because some of my clients are plastic injection molding companies that they don't make bricks, but they make bags and they make other things that are made of plastic pellets. Looking at what they're trying to do to be eco-friendly, with talking about getting rid of the plastic bags and putting them in paper bags. That's all great and dandy, but the big stickler about all of this is the actual cost of doing business, of making that plastic brick, would be a lot lower than you would expect. And I think their pricing is still too high, because you look at the knockoff brands and everybody can say, well, the knockoff brands don't have the same quality. They have different injection molding machines. They have different marketing budget. Everything's cheaper for them to make. They're in a different country. Yes, that might be true, but the actual cost of the injection molding, I have a sneaking suspicion, even though I don't know anybody from Lego, this is completely official. This is just my own opinion. So if anybody flames or gets mad at me, I'm sorry, this is an opinion. From what I've gathered from the world and looking at manufacturing companies that do produce plastics products, they're charging way too much for their product, especially because your target demographic is a lot of these little kids, and especially because a lot of those little kids don't even have access to the Lego, because they don't even sell to India, by the way. You can go to the Lego website, but you cannot buy gift cards, and they do not sell it there. You have to buy it from a third party that ships to India.
Whoa, why not India, though?
I don't know. That's just one example. There's actually quite a few countries we've learned from doing the giveaways where a lot of the gift cards we send won't work, so we have to return them to Lego. And talking to Lego, they're going to say, no, they don't do that. They have to buy it from Amazon or third party, eBay, to get their Lego.
Oh my God.
So just in the whole scheme, in a perfect world, everybody would want everything for free, and that's not what we're saying. There's still a business. You have to make money. But I do feel like with what you get from a lot of these sets versus how much it takes to produce it, and the R&D, research and development time, how much the packaging costs, shipping costs from huge warehouses, distribution. There's a lot of costs that go into running this business, but with the amount of volume and the way they make their profits, they're probably charging too much for it, just to be honest. It's still not stopped us from buying it to support it. It's just I have a sneaking suspicion that they're probably making more margin than would be ethical if there was a second Lego company. Like if there was a real competitor to Lego, I'm actually curious about that. Sorry to segue you so off, but I really am hoping that he starts doing this. Not because I hate Lego, it's just because monopolies are usually not good for any one particular subject. It usually makes it to where you just settle, like you and I we're settling for the corner garage the way it was. If there was another alternative, another brand that had different sets, we could then pick and choose, and that competition is always healthy for product development.
Yeah, I'm the same. I do have a sneaky suspicion that Lego makes a killing off Lego bricks. It's funny as well because I'm sure I read somewhere that they're the most pollutant, I think is the word, like in terms of plastic waste, because that's why I love secondhand sets. Like if I can't buy a set brand new, I'll always look for it secondhand. I'll look in charity shops, I'll look on eBay, other places, other like shopping markets, like through Facebook and things like that. I'll look, and it's mad because we put in so much money into this one company, and we, like you said, we're just settling for this brand. We're settling for this car the way it is, or like you said, the corner garage the way it is. When I've seen, before I started buying Lego, I used to comment on like Lepin. Have you ever heard of Lepin? Yeah. Or Lepin, whatever you want to call it.
They're not popular, by the way, in the States. They're yeah.
As I've seen all the thing about the lawsuits and stuff, but as illegal as it is, I think it was great personally, because it gave people an opportunity to buy the sets that they walk through. Like, say for instance, you walk through a Lego store and you saw the corner garage and you're like, oh my God, that looks amazing, but I don't want to pay $180 for it, or whatever the price was. Then you go onto this website, and at the time, I didn't buy any Lepin sets, but I watched reviews, I was like, this is really interesting. And these guys were reviewing these sets, and I'm like, this is great. It cost me $60. It was amazing. I'm like, that's like less than half. That's more than half the price of the original Lego set. I'm thinking, damn. Like, and they did other brands. So basically, what they did was people's Lego idea sets that got rejected, they made and sold. And obviously, I think some of them they did contact and give them some sort of margin on it. And some of them they didn't, which is totally wrong, by the way. If somebody's creating something, it's theirs by right. So don't do that, naughty people. But yeah, like some of those sets were awesome. They did a shopping mall set. They did it was like an office building with a bank underneath, and then it had like a bulldozer on top and like construction workers, and it looked amazing. And I was thinking, well, why aren't Lego doing this? And I think it just comes back to it, that the fact that we've settled and nobody else has got, the pitchforks out and said, Lego, make this set,
But also, it's also one of those things where this is the reason why starting a business in today's day and age, this is just generally what I've seen I'm a small business owner here in the States. It's hard to start a business because you're competing with a lot of other large established brands. And if someone wanted to go to bat with Lego, it would take a lot of financial backing to start a company that would be large enough and be able to hit the ground running with enough steam and marketing and pressure that they'll be able to create something. And then also the way that Lego has been is they've trademarked a lot of things that, to me, I don't know how you can trademark. Like the trademarking, the style of the way those bricks click together. They're saying the way the pins are configured inside of the Legos and the way they inject. Well, in any case, you're basically saying like Lincoln Logs should trademark the idea of a log cabin, like logs going together. Like trademark. It's like wanting to trademark, water. Water is just water. You're putting it in a square bag, and they're putting it in a circle bag. So you're going to sue him because he stole your idea of water. It's like it's just plastic molded into a brick of some sort. And because we don't have the Lego brand on it, we have another brand. They could argue, but it's whoever goes to bat with Lego is going to be dealing with trademark issues, distribution, marketing issues. And then at the end of the day, you still have a devout Lego fan base who will always support Lego no matter what Lego does and no matter what Lego is. You're going to have a real hard time grabbing up those new customers.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it would definitely be it's like football league here in the UK, like, football, the soccer for you Americans. If there was ever to be any other football league that started outside of it, it wouldn't last, because there's so much money put into the soccer league here, the football league. It wouldn't last. It would fizzle out and it would basically go into debt. So I understand where you're coming from in terms of if there was another company, that built sets similar to Lego. But funny you should say that, because I'm sure, funny you should say that Lego trademarked the click of the bricks, but I'm sure that they ripped the idea off of somebody in the very beginning. There was because Lego originally made wooden toys. Yeah. And they had metal die cast, a bit like Hot Wheels cars and things like that. And I'm sure that, I can't remember where it was. I think it was, is it Denmark? Lego was made? Yeah. Or one of those Eastern European countries, and it was I think there was a few guys going around trying to like suss out, trying to make a toy business, and then I think the guy that made Lego, he'd seen somebody else use it, and then he decided, oh, that's a pretty good idea. I'll tell you what, I'm going to pinch that, and then he trademarked it. But like you said, they've got all these silly trademarks on city. What other? So say if there was another brand that wanted to create a Lego town or city life type theme, you're going to struggle.
Well, first idea, if you want to go into business with me to create a Lego alternative, that would be a fun project. It's not for reals. Like anybody listening to this, we're not really going to do this. This would be just a mental exercise we would do for brainstorming for ideas, just to think about. But the first thing anybody does who does this is they would first have to come up with a really cool name that doesn't infringe anyway on the trademark major terms of Lego. So you'd have to look at all the terms that Lego's trademarked and then come up with new terms, or don't use those entirely, and come up with a web presence and a title or a name that people will instantly realize that you're building a building toy in some way, shape, or form. But then after that, then the engineering part comes in, is you have to find a way to make plastic bricks in a different way that are different than Lego, but then you're also not limited to the way Lego's done it. A good example is their 1 by plate that's in an L configuration. You don't have to do that. You could technically do other angles. You don't have to stay to 45 or 90 degrees, because that is a Lego thing. Like you would basically, one of your pitching things is when you do this is look at how cool and the shapes we can come up with this Lego, because we don't just stick to 45 and 90 degrees like you get with Lego. Like you have variant angle pieces.
You have curvatures and stuff like that. I know Lego have started introducing more curvature pieces, but I mean, it's weird because you are forced to build, like through my experience anyway, you are forced to build 90 and 45 degree angles. There's no other option. I mean, you can build illegal builds and do it that way, but just looking at stuff that I've built, I always build very square, very to the base plate, or to, like, a good example is the modular apartments. Obviously, it needs to fit into a row of other modulars, but it's still very blocky and square. I don't think you can see it very well in the camera. But yeah, it's still very blocky. It's got a very flat face, and the only thing you can do about that is build outwards using the snot technique. Whereas if you had the more curved pieces, you could have a curved entranceway. You could have curved pieces on the top, like on the front facade. You could maybe have the building curve, so that instead of it going straight up like that, you could have it sort of curve up like that and come to some sort of dome.
Well, yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
And that's exactly what you're describing. Is, to me, what makes a great Lego builder and Lego mocker is their ability to build angles outside of 45 and 90. If all your builds come out blocky and you're not doing a Lego city, you're not a good mocker. If you're doing a Lego city, a lot of it's going to be blocky. That's just the nature of the way it works with modular buildings. But if you're doing some sort of sculptural based or creature based or some sort of object in Lego, the more 90 and 45 degree angles you have, the less likely it is to look good. And that's the way the best Lego builders basically are using the parts in such ways that you can build around and create curves, create different level surfaces, create depth of field, and create some sort of motion if a creature or an object or animated thing. Like when you look at Lego Masters at the first season, the people who won, they were consistently really good builds, and a lot of it was because the way they designed their creatures were really nice, and it was never blocky. Let's put it that way. But anyway, so the competitor to Lego could move into different pieces that don't work the same way, because the only reason all these knockoffs do it that way is because they haven't come up with something innovative or new. They've just tried to repeat what Lego did with at least enough arm's length of trademark so that they won't get sued. And then they just produce, products like of army men with different minifigures, like Kobe.
Yeah.
But instead of coming up with their own style of pieces, they usually don't. I mean, Kobe, I think, what's his name? Cabbage Face Bricks is a channel we follow. He does a lot of Kobe nowadays. And it's fun to watch, because there are some times where I see some pieces that are different, but fundamentally there's not a whole lot different than Lego.
Yeah. Crayo's another good one. You mentioned that like a while back, and I was thinking, I actually saw some of the sets. They're like things like I know it's not so much building toys, but Playmobil they've got some awesome looking stuff. Like I saw the DeLorean the last time I was in Smith's, and it's like a huge like toy department store type thing. And it looked amazing. I was thinking, well, why didn't the Lego DeLorean look that good? Like, I don't know whether you've seen the actual set. It's like, it comes with Doc and Marty, and it's really blocky. It's horrible looking. And it kind of resembles a, hold on, let me put it up here, back to the...
But I've seen the Lego DeLorean. I haven't seen the Playmobil one.
Yeah, so let me grab the actual Playmobil one up. So I've actually got some reference. The real Back to the Future. Yeah, so I know it's not necessarily a building set, but it's like it's all molded and casted pieces.
Yeah.
But it actually looks like the DeLorean. Fair enough, you've got that. And in terms of the building toy with the Lego Ideas DeLorean set, I don't know whether you've got the same picture that I've got, but it looks hideous.
Yeah, no, I've seen that built, and that was Stacy from Brick Fun 101. One of her favorite movies is the Back to the Future series of all time. So she loves it. She has the brick heads. She's been bugging me about that set since we started doing Lego last year, and I still have not bought it. It's not that good. I've seen three other channels built it, and it just doesn't look that great. I keep telling her at whatever point I become better at building Lego or toys in general, I'll build her a mock with some sort of brick toy later. Of the DeLorean.
I think I've actually seen. Sorry to interrupt. I think I've actually seen the a better version of it, DeLorean Lego mock. I can't remember where I saw it. Yeah, look. Oh my God, there is so. Just type in. Go into Google and type in.
The brothers build one. Yeah, that one's nice, right?
Yeah. And then there's the Brick Vault one that looks way better than the original set. There's so many others that just look way better than the official licensed Lego set.
Yeah, see, and that's what I would do. I would not order the official one. I would probably download. I would have Stacy choose the one she likes from online. We download the PDF instructions, and then I'll just break link order everything.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, certain functions might not work on some of the sets. Like there's one here that a guy's created. And if you guys want to see it, it's the Lego DeLorean Time Machine from Back to the Future mock. If you just type that into Google, that one actually looks... Oh, actually, I think it is functional. That looks way better than the original set that came out.
Yeah.
Have you found that one? There's like Marty and Doc just sat there. That looks way better than the original. I admit it's not as colourful, but the DeLorean isn't colourful, so... But segue to something else, something that is colourful that we have talked about off camera and off the Brickcast is Everybody Is Awesome set.
Oh goodness, yeah.
So I mean, we've discussed this off camera, and to let everybody know, I'm fully accepting of people's sexualities and genders and all that sort of thing. But did Lego really need to make that set to justify a new community, or to say that we accept everything? You know, what's the deal behind it? It's just
I've seen this by a couple larger YouTubers and getting their thoughts. Every time you see a video on this, I think we're a little late to the game, by the way. I think everybody who's talked about this has already talked about it, and
we have lives. It's all right. We go to work.
we're beating a dead horse at this point. But anyway, my official beating the dead horse statement is that it's whatever you want it to be. I feel that they didn't need to release the set for any particular reason. I don't think it was a reaction to anything. I think they literally just did it because they felt they wanted to, which is great. And I don't have anything on that set that offends me personally. I don't know why. I've been on Instagram and I've seen some people that reacted poorly to that set, and it baffles me. I don't know why they would be upset with a release like that. It's a very nice sentiment behind releasing a set like that. I don't know why people would get angry. But other than that, as far as the feelings of why it was justified to come out, I don't think Lego was doing it because they were pressured or they wanted to take a stance on something. I think they just did it because one of the designers felt strongly about it and he designed a set. They approved it. They put it out just for some adult fans of Lego who might enjoy it. And I think it's great. Now, personally, I don't own it because, as you know, I don't display sets very often. I think up here, what do I have? I have a Technic remote control car and a chessboard. That is it. That's all I have. So I can play chess and chase my dogs with the Technic set, basically. And by the way, that's also new. I did buy this today or yesterday at Target. I bought the newest Technic.
Oh, yeah.
Let me bring it out.
Yeah, bring it forward. That looks pretty cool.
Okay. So I had that's the one from 2020, and this is the one from 2021, which is a remote control. So now I have 2 remote control cars. So what am I going to do with this? We're going to go off-road racing with these.
Yeah, that sounds like a good video idea.
Yeah.
So have you got some like dirt tracks or something nearby where you live to use those?
Yeah, in a park. And a park has bridges, small waterfalls, and a little stream that's shallow enough for cars to go in through. So I can just shoot it like an off-road like Ford commercial. I don't know. You
need a GoPro to stick on so you can actually get like some front sort of what I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Brings me to my next question. I actually broke down and got a big boy camera, or a different.
What?
I gave the camera back that I was using for Dragon Frame back to the owner who was lending it to me because I'm not going to really do stop motion anymore. And I bought a Sony ZV-1, which is one of the best vlogging cameras to date. And this thing is really good for cinematic photography because the 24 to 90 millimeter lens in it is actually really quite good. So I'm going to be doing videos with those. So I'll be hyper zoomed in. Okay. Okay, I'm going to be ultra zoomed in, slow motion on the cars running through. So we don't need the GoPro.
You were saying things that my small brain could not compute. It was like 8.5 something millimeter, and I was just like, I started thinking about that classical monkey that claps the 2 symbols together. That's all my brain was doing. It was going ting ting ting. Now
one of these days I have to get you to get into being a camera guy because you have a YouTube channel. We gotta stop using our phones, man.
But I think that some phone quality is better than, and you know this better than anybody, is better than an actual camera.
Yeah.
Because you had that experience with a Google Pixel.
Yep.
And it wasn't that great. And you went back to your old phone that was way better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have got an upgrade phone sat around somewhere, but I just haven't had the time to swap it over and try and move pictures from the phone up onto a pen stick. But I think I'd like to say I'm too lazy because I've used Nikon cameras. I've used, God, what else have I used? I've used Sony. I've used, is it Vivitar or something? I used a whole host of them. I used like really horrible Japanese makes, and I did the photography course, and I didn't like having that big bulky thing, and I was thinking, well, why don't we just use a smaller camera? And as you know, back in the days when I used to do wrestling stuff and I recorded videos and stuff, I still hated the small camera. It just wasn't. It felt weird in my hands. It felt like this Xbox controller. It was a bit like holding it up, and it's a bit too bulky. Whereas a phone, it's See, that's not too bad, but it's still in comparison to your phone. Flip them on the side. Let's get See, look at the difference because it's got all that crazy hardware. And what baffles me as well is the fact that there's that much technology in a phone nowadays that beats most of the cameras, and the camera's still bulky.
Well, there's 2 things that you won't ever get though, Lewi, with the camera. And I know the phone is better, especially for Stop Motion Studio Pro, comparatively to Dragon Frame. Unless you're willing to spend a lot on cameras and lenses, you're better off with the phone. That's what I found out. But as far as what you miss by going on the cell phone nowadays, is you miss out on having the lens quality. The lens quality really is good. Also, you miss out on being able to choose your own manual settings for shutter speed, f-stop, and ISO, as well as all of your other things that relate to exposure, filters, and or frames per second, slow motion that can be changed on the fly, whereas the phone, it's a mode you toggle into, and that's pretty much it. You don't have a lot of other settings. It's going to do everything automatic. You're going to get your focus in and out. That's it. And if you want to control all that and have some sort of cinematography setup, you have to use something like a camera. And why I like the camera is because it's technically considered a point and shoot camera, meaning that me, a guy who doesn't like to spend time just like you, I don't want to fiddle with the freaking camera. If you just put it in auto, you turn it on, you put it in auto mode, and you just start shooting, you get 4K video, 60 frames per second, or sorry, 30 frames per second, 4K video, or you get 60 frames per second, or even 120 frames per second at 1080p or HD. You just point, shoot, video, done. And all the settings will take from now. To get the best footage out of this, though, I had to watch a couple YouTube videos, and I stored some custom-made presets for the cinematography, slow motion, close up, as well as face shot, like a face profile shots, as well as like interviews, or if you're going to be roaming around doing a vlogging or something like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not very technical. It takes you less than 24 hours to learn how to use this.
Well, there is. I do see a lot of YouTubers use them cameras, and they do look pretty cool. But I'm a creature of habit. I'm using the same thing.
It comes down to this. If you want to pull up on your screen right now, our interview, and you look at my quality of my image, I have one backfill light. I have 2 point lights in the back part of the room, a backfill. So I'm not using crappy lighting. I'm using good lighting. But because I'm using my IMAX camera, and we're limited on StreamYard to 1080, which is actually fine. 1080 is fine for most things. The way I look is limited to the camera and the lens in my iMac, which is not good. And you look at someone like Open Build Repeat. Have you seen his videos?
Yes. Yeah.
They're different. They're much different quality.
Yeah.
They're a lot better quality.
Yeah. Clean is the word that I would use for that. For Open Build Repeat.
No, they're better quality. They're flat out better. The thing is because it's the camera lens that makes it more visually appealing. I would rather spend more time watching his videos than I would of a video of me the way this is right now, because visually it's stimulating. Yeah,
totally get that. Like, I think for us, in terms of if we were move forward with the Brickcast, eventually it'd be great to have a full PC setup that did all this crazy stuff for us, and we had Streamlabs or StreamYard, running side by side to create a better image, and we could have custom things pop up, etc. And just a better quality, because that way you can have an external webcam. You could have something like a Canon webcam, and one of the ones that Jess has for streaming is immaculate. I've literally watched a stream with her, and I'm like, Jesus, and that's just hooked up to the Xbox, and she's just streaming away. It is honestly so clear. Which, I mean, we've got ups and downs, haven't we, to mobile phones and stuff like that. But just thinking off the back of my head, sidetracking once again, as we do regularly on the Brickcast. I did want to mention, I don't have nothing against the Everybody is Awesome set. I just thought it was a funny topic to bring up, and a sort of a weird one, to be honest, because I know we're going back over it, even though we've already discussed it. But yeah, it's. Do you think? I know you said Lego didn't feel like they were forced to do it, but do you think there was some sort of creative force behind there, maybe planting the seed to put it out, or?
I don't know about any of that, because I don't keep my finger really on the pulse with any of the Lego leaks or the rumors, or I don't know anybody that works at Lego that talks to me. So it's all conjecture based off of what we see from other people's news articles, releases, and stories. Yeah. So I don't know if any of that's true. I from what I can tell, it was just one person that designed the set. Maybe he designed it with some other people, but it resonated with him personally. And so he offered this, and then that's why they released it from corporate. So that's supposedly how it went. I don't know if that's really it, though.
It seems a bit mad that the fact that it got so much hate just for being colourful bricks.
Yeah.
Like brick scene, we said last time, I can't remember whether we said it offline or online, but brick scene created a hilarious video for people that are against people of the same sex being together, gay, bisexual, lesbian, or whatever. And I thought it was brilliant, because it's exactly, at the end of the day, it comes down to this. It's just Lego bricks. It's nothing else, nothing more. Anybody can do what the hell they want with it. You could build a giant penis, for Christ's sake, behind me, and who cares? Because you're building bricks. It's not about sexuality. It's not about race. It's not about gender. anybody can play with this or build it. I mean, I play with it, and I'm 29. Like, who cares? Like, I just wanted to get that out at some point, and to make sure that people.
There's a rule you told me of 3 unusual words in your stream. So we said one right at the beginning. We've got one there, and if you want, I can throw it in at the end. This way, you're not monetized anymore.
I'm not fussed. I don't think I have any plans of making it big on YouTube anytime soon. So I just like doing this as a hobby, I suppose. But yeah, I think at that, we might have to call it. We're running at 50 minutes.
Oh wow! Yeah, already
50 minutes.
But the camera is.
Yeah, I was like, I just saw this big red thing, and I was like, oh, 50 minutes, right? Fair enough. So we went over our time, but that's what it's like here on the Brickcast. I want to say thank you to Aaron for joining me once again. He'll be on here every time, hands down, every time. I hope you enjoyed the Brickcast. If you want to see more of these videos, like, share, comment, hit the subscribe button, put the bell icon, because we've discovered that putting the bell icon actually activates people's feeds and it shows you that we're uploading. But yeah, I've been Lewis, he's been Aaron, and this is the Brickcast. See you later, guys.